Michigan law says you have to be 18 years to old, 8 years old rather, to own or carry a gun. But more teenagers than ever are carrying them, and at the same time, the number of teenage gun violence victims has also increased.
That's really a horrifying trend. Gun violence is now the #1 cause of death for teens in the U.S. It used to be car crashes, so it had us wondering, why is this happening? I want to share a conversation I had with a young man who admits he carried a gun as a teen, knowing it was illegal, but he felt it was necessary.
When you were a teenager, you carried a gun.
Yeah.
Why did you feel like it was necessary?
Because it was dangerous. You got people who's hating on each other. You got people who's in gangs, and they don't know how to control their anger.
Nate Adams says he never used his gun, but felt a need to have one.
I need to have a gun because I was on the west side catching a bus to the east side, and you feel me, I had nice clothes and stuff on, so I wanted to protect myself.
But for some teenagers, the impulsive pull of a trigger changes so many lives, including their own.
Tell us what happened. Why did you do that?
The 17-year-old in this video being questioned by Detroit police is facing serious charges, including murder. Police say he shot and killed his friend, who was only 17.
You shot him. He took me to it. He took me to it.
Teens all across Metro Detroit are getting their hands on guns, and is ending in disastrous results just in the past few months. For example, in November in Roseville, a 16-year-old was caught with a loaded gun in his backpack at school. Also, just last November, a Detroit teenager playing with a gun shot and killed a 15-year-old. 2 Detroit 15-year-olds were shot and wounded at a Detroit tree lighting ceremony. And then in December in Ecorse, a teenager was caught with a gun at school. These examples can go on and on and on.
Adolescents are not known for making the best decisions, and these are incredibly fatal, deadly tools.
Nauka Carey is a researcher with Boston College.
The study starts at age 12.
Over the past 20 years, Carey found a 41% increase in the number of teenagers who admit to carrying a gun.
Rates of carrying guns increased the fastest for the highest income youth, white youth, and youth in rural areas.
Last year, 727 Michigan kids were charged with carrying a concealed weapon, and that number could climb even higher.
Now, obviously, a minor is not supposed to have a gun,
Yeah.
so you were breaking the law.
Yeah, I definitely was, but my life was in jeopardy.
Give me some perspective of why you took that chance.
The protection, just protection, because it was real bad.
And there isn't a lot of evidence that owning your firearm actually protects you.
Mark Zimmerman is the co-director for the Institute for Firearm Injury Prevention at the University of Michigan.
About 6% of kids report carrying a weapon to school. And you just think about that for a minute, and it's a little scary.
Looking at this through the eyes of a father now that you have 2 girls, how do you feel about teens and guns?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah, it's got to be a little scary.
Yeah, real scary. I just, let them know just not to be around guns. It ain't right.
Something else to think about here. For people of all ages, including teens, about 60% of all gun deaths are suicides.
Another great reason for people to keep those guns locked up and out of the hands of kids.
You know, that's a very important part. We were talking to researchers, though, and they were saying a lot of parents feel safe that their gun is locked up. But then when you talk to a lot of the kids, they say, actually, we know how to access them, or we know how to get that gun. So parents really need to make sure that they are aware of keeping their gun safe and away from children.